Hello, everyone, and welcome to this live stream. I hope you had a wonderful Easter weekend. Today, we're going to animate something that is very vital for animation. Seemingly simple, but it can become very complex once you really think about all the details. We're going to have a look at an eye blink, how to animate an eye blink. Hello, ProJP Corp. Hello, Ivan. Nice to see you. Oh, on the road. Have to rewatch later. Yeah. Of course, this will be, as always, available to watch later as a recording. Yeah, and I want to walk you a little bit through my process and through my thinking while approaching this. This is, of course, one of the 51 animation exercises. In case you don't know them, they are on our website, animatorisland.com. They are the 51 animation exercises, and they are all great exercises that I can really recommend for not only beginners, but, if you've already animated for a while and you really want to challenge yourself, test your skills, then the 51 animation exercises, they are great to introduce you to many important concepts in animation, but also to test your skills. And, especially some of the later ones, I think there's like a tug of war or something like that. Yeah, later in there, a character dealing a deck of cards out. Those can be a little bit tricky to animate. So, yeah, and we are going to do one of the earlier ones, though. We're just going to do a character blinking. So, and, in honor of Easter, I thought I'm gonna animate a little Easter bunny blinking. Hello, Hilly. Yeah, long time no see. Nice to see you. Nice that you're here. Hello, Upar. Nice that you all are in the chat. That's wonderful. Yeah, so I'm here in Clip Studio Paint, but the way of thinking about an eye blink is the same in any animation software. You don't need to have Clip Studio Paint to do that. You can animate in OpenTunes if you want free animation software. There's also other stuff like Toon Boom Harmony. Blender has some awesome 2D tools by now, the grease pencil. But it also applies for 3D. Like the thoughts and phases that you have to put in applies to any animation. Doesn't matter if it's 2D, cut out, frame by frame, 3D animation, clay motion, stop trick. Everything can be approached in the same way. So, I already drew a drawing here just to have a quick thumbnail, but I think I'm gonna actually redo this. So in Clip Studio Paint, you have these animation folders. Let's actually get my screen. I have this little annotation software. I should probably get that out so I can show some things a little bit bigger. Let's see where that is. Talking and looking for something at the same time always works so wonderful for me. I have no idea how the big live streamers do it. Software, screen capture. I think it's this one. Yes. All right, so this screen annotation, screen pointer focus software is great because I can show you stuff a little bit bigger. So, of course, we need an animation folder, and in this animation folder, this is where all our drawings sit. That's kind of how Photoshop works, a little bit how OpenTunes works, that you have a stack of drawings that you just put somewhere. And one of the reasons why I want to redraw the first frame is because I want to work on a vector layer. I like vector layers because of that flexibility that you can edit strokes after you've made them. I just need that kind of flexibility. So let's look into that. So deselecting all, I'm gonna, most of the time, I'm gonna use the pencil tool here. Let's see what's a good size. I don't want to draw too small. Oh, and of course we have to actually put the drawing here into the timeline. So it only has that drawing number 1 here. We're going to put it on frame 1. And now I can start. And I do want to refine my bunny design a little bit that I already had in the thumbnail. So yeah, this is not supposed to be like a character design lesson, but I think one goal that I have is that I want to make it look a little 3-dimensional. So the easiest, one of the easiest things you can do is to work with these like surface lines to really make sure that we see where the middle of the shape is. So for spheres, it's kind of like this. And then another thing that we should really think about is think about sides. I really do want this part to be like a side plane. I want this to be a top plane, so the camera is a little bit lifted up over the head of the bunny, which allows us to do like a little hair tuft here. I think that would be quite nice. Yeah, Abhar asks, I would like to ask which software is mostly used in 2D production by studios, whether it's Western or anime. So, that's very different. It can be up for the studio to decide that. There are a lot of studios working with Toon Boom Harmony. I've seen Moho more and more in production, which is more like a cutout 2D puppet rig kind of thing. But there's pretty much any software that is professionally sold is used in studios. You just have to see which studio it is. A lot of the Disney stuff, the Disney TV series at the moment are using Toon Boom Harmony, to my knowledge. There's also TV Paint that might be worth having a look into, especially for like film. So for the little snout here, the important thing for that one is that the front plane of that little snout area is is a little bit in front here. It's a little bit like we're putting a block in front of that sphere. So it will have a front plane here on which we can put the nose. And, the nose is not exactly in the middle. That could happen if you think a little bit two-dimensional. If we think that this area is the front plane, it's in the middle of the front plane, which pushes it a little bit over, So let's see. Let's give him a nice smile. I always, for bunnies, I kind of like if they have like a very, very short kind of snout here. Yeah, I think this is lovely. I also like, if you have like this classic smiley mouth, I really like not putting that line in the middle. I really like having it really as like a crease, that's being pushed over by the corner of the mouth. That's how I like to draw it a lot of the time. Okay. There are more questions by now. Good evening from Zambia. How are you doing? I'm in Germany. I'm doing quite well. I hope you're doing well too. How do you find working with keyframes in Clip Studio Paint? I'm assuming that's what you're using today. Coming from Krita and OpenToons, I found it a little tedious. I have to admit, I haven't done that much with keyframing in Clip Studio Paint. Mostly because my first impression also was like, I don't quite get it yet. I do suspect that you know, it probably gets easier once you really understand how it works. Because what I find interesting about Clip Studio Paint is their choice to you know, not include keyboard shortcuts for animation. You have to set them up all by, you know, all manually. There's no preset, which in the beginning I hated, but now I love it because I'm forced to think about like what keyboard shortcut do I want this to be. Really building my own now. Of course, now I haven't used it in like a couple months. I've forgotten all the shortcuts that I said. But I was basically looking at shortcuts that I already know from other software. FF Gamers says, please give us a full course of animation for beginners. There is at least the start of that. If you go to animatorisland.com/2D, I might even have a little text card for that. animatorisland.com/2D. It's basically just a playlist here on YouTube. Really starting at the very beginning. And it kind of stopped at timing now, but it's like, you know, the most basic stuff is there. So you can start there, and it's using OpenToonz, so it's free to start. Okay, so about the tooth here. I do like a little bit of rhythm. Like what I try to avoid is, look at this here. The angle on that side of the tooth is the same as on the other side of the tooth. So how to make this shape more interesting is to have like maybe a straight shape here and then have a curve here. This gives you this nice little extra detail, which I think is really cool. So, and you know, one other thing to play around is the angle of that bottom line here. I think it feels vastly different than, you know, if you do something like this. This almost feels like a little bit of perspective going back here, and I like that little curve. Hilly says, I think I can follow along here. That would be awesome. Yeah. If somebody wants to follow along, please share the result with me on social media. I want to see all the eye blinks that you come up with. And I might be actually slower than like somebody just focusing on doing this, because I'm constantly talking, you know. So I like those little teeth here. Now for eyes, I have like my favorite way to do eyes is just to have like this big swirl and try to have like a very, very dynamic eye shape. I really like these. Make sure that they're curving along the surface. So don't do something like this. You know, this would be a completely round eye. I mean, you can, depending on the style, obviously you can. I personally like to curve it a little bit around the, you know, see that? There's like this curve here in this eye along the 3D shape here. So that's how I like to do it in like my default style. Let's call it my default style. Let's give him a little bit of like, you know, these cartoon eyebrows. I think those are nice. All right. Let's give him a little tuft of hair here. I think, you know, with this, you can kind of give him a character. Like if you brush them up, I think they feel a certain way. If you just have them like straight, if you have multiple scraggly ones, if you have 3 ones with a big one in the middle, I think you can really use this to define the character of your bunny here. Maybe we have one going up, one going down, and then a big one? maybe. One going up, one going down, and a big one. Or maybe one on the other side with one going down, one going up, and then a not so big one. I don't know, maybe like this. Okay, so for that little shoulder area, I'm gonna have a top plane for where the shoulder connects, a side plane, well, a top plane looking at the top of the shoulder, a side plane where you would attach the arm coming out, and then we have a front plane, you know, where we would have whatever the shirt would be that he's wearing. And we can make a little collar along that shape. All right, let's give him big ears. Again, we're gonna have like a curve and then a straight curve. Straight line and curve. Well, maybe have it bent back a little. Or maybe straight here, curve here. I don't know. Okay. Maybe like that. Maybe he's a little bit too oval. I might have gone a little bit overboard with that. So let's maybe shorten that shape a little bit here. Pencil. So. I want to get this just right because, you know, we're gonna use them for a couple of frames. Hey, Snowfix. Yeah, long time no see. Happy to stream again. Yeah, at the moment, no open tunes. I really want to dig deeper into Clip Studio Paint right now. Beard looking nice. Thank you. I'm really like, that's kind of my new hobby now. And I went a couple times to like a trimmer, to a barber shop and stuff. And I had the bad luck that the first time I went to a barber shop, I went in the US, and the guy in the US cut my beard perfectly. I loved it. Like, that was the first time that I really got like a barber shop cut at all, and that I committed to the shaving my head, and it was such a great experience. And you know, they did the whole thing with like the hot towel and stuff like that. That was really fun. And the beard was just perfect, wonderful. And then I fly back to Germany, and I'm like, okay, I go to a barbershop here, and they like completely shortened my beard to like a short stubble. I was like, that was not what I asked for at all. And since then, I had nothing but bad luck with German barbers for whatever reason. So I got all the equipment for myself, and I'm doing it myself now. Also quite badly, but I'm getting better at it. And at least, you know, if somebody's gonna ruin my beard, it better be me. Okay, similar pattern in the tufts again. You know, we have a small one, a big one, and a small one again. And I think that looks kind of cute. Maybe we bring this tooth out a little bit more so it makes sense with perspective, because it would come out maybe a little longer. And we got a nice little first drawing here. So important with that one, I'm also not going to split the teeth exactly in the middle, because if I do that, perspective will not line up, because, you know, that side of the tooth is being tilted slightly back. This side has to be a little bit shorter than the other side. Yeah, all right. I think that's a nice start here for our eye blink. And yeah, let's bring a little bit of a pose-to-pose workflow into this. Pose-to-pose is also one of the 12 principles of animation. Like both of the working methods are. There's the working method straight ahead animation, and straight ahead animation would be you just start at frame 1 and you draw one drawing after the other. Pose-to-pose animation is you plan a little bit more and then you go in between what you planned, add something there, go between those poses, add something there. You jump around and build your animation brick by brick, pose by pose. And usually you don't work chronologically, but you jump back and forth. In this case, we're going to do pose to pose. We're going to jump to the end of that animation and going to have a look at how our end pose looks. Now, I need to resist the urge to make this too cartoony. Like I almost let's go in and create a new drawing here. I must have set up a shortcut for this. Which one was it? Oh, is it? Maybe it's showing. New animation cell. I put it on N. If you are using Eclipse Studio Paint for the first time, animating in there, you're not gonna have a shortcut set up for this. You need to do that in the settings. There's also for everybody not being familiar with Eclipse Studio Paint, definitely set it to prefer speed and play in real time. If you don't do this, Eclipse Studio Paint will try to play every single frame, and yeah, that is too slow if your computer can't handle it. So yeah, playing real time, prefer speed. Jizzy Apple, I was just passing through, gonna be leaving soon. I'll probably find my question answered later. Beard hype stole the show. Oh, did you ask a question? Did I overlook that? Ooh, oh, I see. Yeah. What are your thoughts on what's the best process is for shading? Should you put the shading and highlight guides or do it after coloring? To be completely honest with you, I have in a long time not worked on a production that actually had good shading. Like, I know that in some of the recent productions, and with recent, I probably mean like the last 4 or 5 years, we had like, I don't know, I can count on one hand how many shots we had with shadows painted in. So those productions didn't have a shading workflow. I usually, if I do it for myself, do shading only during the coloring process, thinking about where the shadows go. Like right now, doing that drawing here, I would not go in and plan the shadow, like something like that, and maybe use another color to plan the shadow. But that's if the thing is also like if that's something you enjoy, and it's important for your film to really think about shading, definitely find a way to make it a part of your production right from the beginning. There are also some tricks that you can do. Like if you have all of this filled, you can put it into like After Effects or something, and then just imagine if you have this character and you use him as a mask, and then you duplicate him and shift him over, then you get like shadow layers that look like this. It's the entire character pushed over. And that sometimes is a good base for a shadow layer, or, the reverse of it could be a light layer. You would have the shadow from the ear coming in, and you could use this as a light mask. There are some productions, that use that. They don't actually shade it by hand. They use some masking tricks that give you Not perfect pose shadows, but you know, sometimes good enough. And yeah, here's the way probably how to do it in Clip Studio Paint. You can make multiply layers. Always good. Love me some multiply layers for my shadow. And then clipping masks. Yeah, you can probably do it with that. Very good point. We're still on the first drawing. Oh my god. Let's move to the second one. So another really cool thing about moving to the second drawing, which is going to be the end of our blink, is that it forces us to think about some things that we might overlook if we just went about this straight ahead. So what I see a lot of people do when they do like the first eye blink animation, they just add a new layer and then they just like draw the eye blink in, and then they open the eyes again. But you know, there is a lot of stuff that happens in the face when you do an eye blink. So doing this on a new drawing right now helps us to define what we're actually aiming for. So let's create a new drawing. We can do that here with N, because I set it to N, you know, new animation cell. Alrighty. And now we're going to put in, is this onion skin? Enable onion skin. Wonderful. So there are a couple things that we want to think about. I don't just want to have a robotic eye blink. I actually want a lot of the face muscles to go with it. And, you know, if we want to be really cartoony, we could also do something like, you know, we could do like a real squash here. If it's like, I don't know, something really cartoony, we could do something crazy like that. I don't want to go quite that cartoony, but let's go a little bit. Let's do it a little bit. I just want to squeeze him a little bit outwards and down. So he's about to stay with his head almost where he is, maybe a tiny bit. We nudge him like right under the line of the previous drawing. I think that might be nice. So it's kind of subtle. Obviously, like, you know, in a realistic, if you animate a human, you don't have the entire head being squashed with a blink. But, you know, for our little bunny, we can be a little bit crazy. And, you know, I also like flipping back and forth. Best to do that without onion skin. And, you know, right now it doesn't look like much, but it's going to help us later to really judge how big the squash is. Let's switch onion skin back on. So the thing for eyebrows, you kind of want them to come down. So let's think how are the eyes actually closing? You know, there could be like a happy little blink. There could be like a kind of chill, relaxed one. There could be a squeeze, and you know, those eye shapes are all different. I kind of want just a relaxed little close of the eye. So something like that. Again, we might want to imagine this as a ball with like a volume. We don't want to just go straight and then, you know, have it like go in the middle, but maybe, you know, the eyes have a little bit of volume or a little bit curved. So I want a little bit of a 3D squash where it's like almost like the center is a little bit more in like this 3/4 area of it. And this will usually also cause the eyebrows to come down. Now this is sometimes a little bit tricky to animate. Like usually you can use those like Disney fold eyebrows to make your eyebrow expression, and then I feel like it's kind of easier to do eye blinks with them. I sometimes have a little bit trouble doing having these eyebrows wander down, because it sometimes looks odd. But yeah, switch off onion skin. Here, maybe you can see what I mean. It's kind of odd to have, like, you know, these folds all of a sudden come down. But, you know, animation works in context with other drawings, so we don't always have to get everything perfect. Oh, and one other thing that I like is to give the eyes a little bit of, like, a, you know, they poke out a little bit. The eyelids have like an actual width. That can sometimes look quite lovely. Yeah, I think I kind of like that. All right. And, you know, we don't want to exaggerate it too much. I think I might already be exaggerating it too much. Because I just like me some cartoony animation. And let's keep the nose and that little snout roughly at the same spot. I don't want much else to go on here. I don't maybe it squeezes a little bit outwards. I say something and then I go in to do the opposite. I apologize. Maybe this line is slightly under the other line. Okay, but one thing we can't shift much is the teeth. We can maybe put them a little bit down, but, you know, teeth should remain super solid. So let's just push them a little bit over, and that's it. We don't want them to squeeze, really. We just want to put the whole thing down. Okay. Okay, we have the whole face squashing a lot, but I think that will look lovely, I think. So for the tuft of hair, I probably going to rely on onion skin, because they are coming down quite a lot and probably have like a little bit of a follow through and overlap, tiny bit maybe. Alrighty. Okay, the rest I'm just gonna trace. I'm gonna put the ear a little bit lower. But I'm trying to keep everything else the same. There we go. And this ear, I guess, also comes a little bit lower. Here. You know, since we're already doing frame by frame animation, we might put some effort into every frame. This is going to be stationary. We don't want anything else to move in the body while the eye blink is happening, because we want the people to look at the face. And, you know, the more that is happening not on the face, the more distracting the body is going to be. And we don't want the body, in this case, to distract at all. So I'm just going to keep it. Okay, maybe it will flicker less if we also use our helper lines. The helper lines can also help us to, you know, strengthen that squash illusion maybe just a little bit to help us understand the volumes that are happening. Okay. All right. Okay, so, you know, this is squashing quite a lot. The thing that you should probably pay most attention to if you're doing an eye blink for yourself and you don't want to exaggerate it quite as much, you should definitely make sure that your eyebrows are moving, because that's totally gonna make your eye blink more awesome. Okay. All right. So now we got our start position, middle position for the blink. Those are all key poses, by the way, storytelling keyframes. So storytelling key 1, eyes completely open. Storytelling key 2 is doing the blink, and then we just open the eyes again, so we can just put frame drawing 1 again here. So now we can flip through it and see like a little bit of a preview of our animation just by going through this frame by frame. And these drawings are the same drawings. So on frame 3, I have an instance of drawing 1 again. So if I draw anything on frame 3, it's also going to show up. I'm now on frame 1. It's also going to show up on frame 1, because on frame 1 we have drawing 1 as well, and those are linked. So if I get rid of that smudge here, I've cleaned it up on both frame 1 and frame 3, because they both use instance of drawing 1. There's a bunch of animation software that works like this. There's like Toon Boom Harmony, Open Tunes. They all have these linked drawings. If you copy and paste a drawing to a different moment in the timeline, those instances will be linked unless you duplicate them. All right. I'm not sure if I'm quite happy with the snout here coming up that much. Oops. I, of course, want to use the eraser here. Let's see. Let's try a different shape here. I think that might work a little better. Let's see. Yeah, I like this more. Okay. So, the way how eye blinks work is we want to draw a timing chart for them and plan it. I usually do a timing chart on a new animation folder. I'm creating a new animation folder up here. And now we're going to think about it, think about planning our animation. I, once again, want to use a vector layer. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter if you have a vector layer there or not. So let's think about it. We want to place drawing, the only drawing that we have here, and think a little bit of how the eye blink is supposed to be. So eye blink animations usually start with an ease because it's an organic motion. You don't want it to, because it's an organic motion, you want it to start gradually. One way to do it is called favoring. With favoring, indicated like this in a timing chart, we say that this drawing here is very close to the previous drawing. So if this was our open eye, the next one is the eyelid barely coming down. And then what happens usually most of the time is that there's another drawing halfway down. So we have a favoring. Well, actually not halfway down. I guess what a lot of people do now is they have 1/4 of the way down. So that would be our little start of the blink. This would be 1/4 of the way down. And then we would reach how our eye is closed. I guess, measured from that position to here, this is half of the distance. So I guess we can still put it here. So this is the first drawing that we just did. And here's going to be the last drawing that we already did with the eyes closed. And we can just count where we will end up. If we're using... let's get rid of this here. If we're animating on 2s, meaning we're drawing on every other frame, this is going to be on frame 3, our favoring. The halfway down is going to be on 5, and then on 6, we're reaching the down position that we've already drawn. So, with that plan in mind, let's go ahead and distribute the... with that plan in mind, let's go ahead and distribute those drawings on the timeline. We would... let's see. So, well, this one's gonna be much later anyway. This one is gonna be on 6. So, coming back from 6, gonna go to 11, the same motion backwards for the eye to be opened again. Well, it's actually not going to be the same motion. We're going to see that in a second. So for opening the eyes, there's a different timing chart that is starting here. Let's add a new animation cell for that new timing chart. This one starts at 6 and is defining how we're opening the eyes again. We're gonna start again with a ease, or we might want to do something in the middle of the blink that we'll talk about later. But again, we would start with the eyes just barely opening. Then we would have this opening speeding up drastically. So again, we will have one about in the middle, and then we'll have the eye open. And if we plan this out, we're gonna have wait, 6 isn't right. This should never be I'm tired already, it seems. Of course, this is 5, and then this is 7, you know, 2 frames later. So the drawing that we already drew with the eyes being closed will end up on 7. And if we distribute this on the timeline, this will be here, and this will go into later. So, all right, okay. So for the opening of the eye, we're gonna go 7. We have the favoring here of the eye just starting to open. Of 9. And we have 11 with the eye being well on the way to open. It's speeding up. And we end on 13. That knowledge, we can plan this drawing to be here. And now we can play it, and we see the timing that our eye blink will have. But right now, the in-betweens are missing. We didn't draw the in-betweens yet. Plus, we might do a little thing in the middle, but we'll get to that in a second. So, now we only need to look at our timing charts for doing the other drawings. We might want to do number 5 first, because number 5 is kinda easy. We can interpolate it from the other frames. If I go ahead and, you know, I'm jumping a little bit ahead now. I'm not doing 3, which would be the next drawing if we would go chronologically, but I'm actually creating number 5 first. gonna set a new drawing for me to appear here. I can use onion skin. And the cool thing about this one is I can now see 7 and I can see 1. And I know that 5 is about in the middle of this. So I can use a lot of these lines that I already have, the blue and the green lines, to go in the middle here and have the eyelids come a little bit up in the bottom and then down halfway, because that's what the timing chart is telling us, you know, between here and here, about halfway is here. Sometimes it's nice to offset them a little bit, you know, have one eye be a little bit slower maybe. I again want to remember that they have a thickness, so they're coming up here, they have a thickness here, and that might look quite nice. All right, and maybe we do the same with the eyebrows. We're gonna go exactly in the middle. You know, you can always accentuate the motion, of course. You don't always have to go exactly in the middle, but for the sake of simplicity, let's try that right now to do it like that. And we can maybe just do the eyes, finish that. So if we switch off onion skin, we can already preview our animation and see that it already comes together with just that one in between added. So the next one is interesting. If we look at the timing chart, it's actually not the next one. We're going back one frame. We're going to look at frame 3 now, and this is telling us that it is a favoring of the first one. And a favoring means we draw something that is extremely close to that frame that we're seeing right now. I'm hitting N to create a new drawing, switch on my onion skin, and now I'm gonna basically trace just under the lines that are already here. For the eyelid, I'm probably gonna do like a little bit of a motion already starting here. So, you know, we can see that the eyelids, at least the top eyelid, is coming down. And that's gonna kick off our motion. But the eyebrows are pretty much where they started. Maybe I do a little bit for the lower eyelid, just a little bit of motion happening there. And maybe I would go so far to trace the entire rest, to trace any other thing in this drawing at this moment is just staying static. And yeah, this is already coming along nicely. Hehe. All right. So I was promising you I wanted to do something in the middle. So what happens a lot with eye blinks is that there often is something happening with the weights of the eyelid on top of each other. It could be a little overshoot where it goes lower and then goes up a little bit, or it could be the opposite. It could get here and then go a little further and then go up again. So the content of that drawing that we're going to add is basically the same. We can just decide if we add it before this frame or after this frame. So I think I want to try adding it before. Now we need to shift both the frames that we already did over by 2 frames because, you know, we're working on 2s. And I'm going to add a little frame here with, I put my keyboard shortcut N in there, which is N. Now let's look at the onion skin, and we're going to have a little bit of an overshoot. We're going to have eyelid going over its goal, like slamming shut and going over that initial goal that we set for it. And yeah, there are different things we can do with the eyebrows. We can also have them overshoot, or we have the eyebrow just like favor coming in here and be slightly above it. Like the eyebrows are slightly slower, which makes sense because, you know, eyes are incredibly fast. Eyelids are super fast. So now we have a nice little slam, and then they're coming up. They slam close, and then they're already coming up. We destroyed our animation a little bit. I feel like it doesn't, like, all the stages before kind of worked in the preview, but with that little detail, it doesn't, because now we can really feel that these in-betweens for the eyes opening are really missing now. But yeah, I think I'm really gonna like this just overshooting and then coming back. As I said, you can do it the other way around. You can have it come to a close and then go even lower, like the weight of the eyelids pushing it down. It will feel less cartoony, less snappy. Okay, so for the eyes opening, let's push our timing chart over. Of course, the numbers have changed now. This is now starting at 9, so our motion is starting at 9, 11, 13 for the middle, and there we have 15. Okay, so again, I would probably like to jump ahead to do 13 first, and it actually will look pretty much like that drawing that we already did. So why not copy that? I think it's Control-Alt-C, Control-C, and Control-Alt-V on the timeline. Yeah, so we can recycle that frame because it is in the middle, but it is here on 13. And on 11, we have a favoring of 9. So this is 9. And now we go to 11, create a new drawing. And we need to favor the drawing that came before there. This is getting a little bit confusing with all the lines. So let's go in animation. Where can I change my onion skin settings? There we go. Okay. So let's just previews and just go one back and one forward. Yeah, that's much clearer, isn't it? And now we can really see that we can open that eyelid. And this is a shape that we didn't have so far. We now have an ease down here, which is not like the eases that we previously had. We're now having an ease that is close to the center of the eye, and the ease that we previously had was starting from here. You know, it was coming in there. So alrighty. Okay. I don't want to forget about the thickness of the eyelids. That's gonna look quite nice. And okay, there's not gonna happen much with the eyebrows here if we just go between those two lines. And with that, we have at least the eye area concluded. So let's switch off onion skin and let's have a look. And we have a nice little eye blink. It's a bit snappy, and that's because of that overshoot and then settling back. That's what's giving it this extra snap. You don't have to animate it like that. You can also reverse the two. Let's maybe reverse them and see how that looks. So I'll put that one here, this one there. And then it would have like a little bit of a settle effect. You see that? It has like the eyelids have weight. I also like that feeling. They both work. I'm feeling cartoony today, so let's reverse that again. And yeah, I think that's looking quite solid. Now, of course, we have to finish this by drawing the rest of the body. Yeah, so these are the phases of an eye blink. You start at first with the eyes just closing a tiny little bit. Then we have like halfway down. Then we have the blink. In this case, we have an overshoot. And in the next one, we go up slightly. Then we open the eyes just a tiny bit. This is the ease out for opening the eyes. Here we had the ease out for closing the eyes, and the ease out for opening the eyes is closer to the closed eyelids. Now again, we have halfway through the whole thing, and then we're back to the open position. You might want to add a little bit of an ease here. You can do that. And one of the biggest things to play with is also the length of a blink. We could make everything in the middle longer, and then we get a slow blink. And slow blinks I find very interesting because they have a really comfy, happy feeling about them. Maybe you know that cats use slow blinks to express love. That's something that really works with cats. And yeah, slower blink is more like I'm sure everything's good, everything's relaxed. And, by just increasing the length of the blink. In that case, we might want to switch those drawings again. See how that will do for us. Yeah. Or just have it go down immediately. Probably like that. Yeah, that's a nice little slower blink. You can make even faster blinks if you have like a flutter blink. You can make half blinks that only go till here. Maybe a little more down. If we really try to keep our eyes open, we just do a half blink. But yeah, let's go back to the timing that we previously had. And basically, I'm just gonna do the in-betweens. Yeah, I think I said most of the things that I could say about a simple eye blink like this one. And this part will be more like, we're hanging out together, maybe talk a little bit about animation. Let me know if you have any questions about any topic in general. And yeah, we just hang out while finishing this animation, okay? Did any one of you see the new Ghostbusters? Is that worth it? All right. Yeah, Hilly, the turn your brain off time. It's nice when that happens, especially when you plant stuff with timing charts and you kind of just have to work through it. Coloring, I also sometimes just enjoy just coloring a little bit. or straight ahead like particle animation, like water droplets or dust or clouds. I really like to do that sometimes. Turn your brain off time. That's nice, yeah. Alrighty. Maybe we should follow our timing chart and go to that middle one, because that's going to be the easiest to follow. Right now, I do not see the first drawing. There are a couple of ways to bring it back. I could set my onion skin again so that I see that previous drawing, or I think I can just drag this in here. Yeah. There's this light table here, and that light table allows me to put any other drawing in there while I'm on this other drawing. I can still see my beginning drawing. And I also want to drag in number 2. Can I put 2 in there? No, I can't. There must be a way, though. I mean, we can just use onion skin because we didn't draw that much other stuff here. Always, though. Reference layer. Can I put 2 at once in there? No, only takes the second one. Okay. New animation cell. I don't know. I have to look more into that light table. Then let's just use the onion skin again. I always forget where that is. Show animation cells. I guess that makes sense because I am showing animation cells. But yeah. Okay, so this is what I wanted, because now what we can do is we can go in between the green and the blue line and get our middle phase of the animation, which, you know, we indicated here is the middle. So this is just a scribble layer. I'm working very, I mean, I guess it works as a tie down. So we want this already to be tied down. So nobody has seen the new Ghostbusters yet? What about Poor Things? Has anyone seen Poor Things? I haven't watched it yet, but I was really interested. So I really like Emma Stone. I really loved La La Land. Healy says, haven't seen them, haven't been to the theater in a long while. Yeah, that's kind of like a lot of people don't go to theaters anymore, I feel like. It's also, I feel like it's getting so expensive. More and more expensive to the point where, like, you know, I have a decent sound system at home. I have all the streaming services. Why even bother? I can make popcorn at home for like a fraction of the price. Yeah, hard to justify the price. Exactly. Oh, the new Godzilla movies. I haven't even seen a trailer yet, but yeah, I guess, sometimes you wanna. I feel like those movies are sometimes such a guilty pleasure to be like just some mind-numbing action cinema can be so nice sometimes. All right, going in between those, having the spikes go down. Okay, we're not doing anything interesting with the spikes. We could do a little bit of a overlap and follow through, but we're not going to bother with that for now. All right, going nice and in between ish everywhere, and then the one before we're just gonna trace. I mean, the new Godzilla movie, I think that might be a reason to go to the theater, I feel like, because, you want a super big sound system to really blow those monster noises into your ears, right? I feel like that's a film where it absolutely makes sense. Oh, I did go for the new Hayao Miyazaki. I went to a cinema not too long ago, and that was pretty epic. That was also totally cinema worthy. Yeah, Boy and the Heron. I watched it in the German dub, and fortunately, as far as anime goes, and actually animation in general, we have really good dubs in Germany. Because usually I do prefer to watch it in the original, but yeah, for Japanese movies, I unfortunately have never learned a word Japanese, so I might as well go with the dub. It's so crazy for the Zootopia. For Zootopia, they've really found voices that sound just like the American voice actors. It's so crazy. And they didn't work. I think there are like some minor roles where, some YouTuber was voicing it or something. But to my knowledge, the main characters were more unknown voice actors that just fit the voice. And it's so crazy. It's like the same voice, but in German. Really cool. I like when they put that effort in. My cat is complaining because she would like to go outside. Not now. I'm almost done. All right, so for this one, for that overshoot, we might also want to overshoot the ease, the squash a little bit more. Oh, Rainbow, are you gonna let me finish? I'm on a roll here. I wanted to do it without a break, but I might have to let the cat out. I'm distracted again. Animation. Show animation cells. This is where the onion skin settings are. Let's just see the previous one. Yeah, you are such a poor thing. She's such a poor thing, our cat. Such a poor little thing. Okay, so this is the previous one. This is the one after. Let's just trace on the. Oh, I lost the color. Color picker. Okay, there we go. Okay, I'm gonna do a short little break. Gonna let out the cat real quick. Hope that she doesn't bring in a mouse. And I'll be back in just a minute. Just going downstairs real quick. There's a little text I getting through on screen. There we go. Be right back. Give you a nice little image here. Yeah, be right back. Let's continue. So, where were we? We were thinking about what we're doing with that overshoot for the squash and stretch. So, you know what? Let's stretch it a little bit further, but kinda stay on the green lines. See how that will treat us. Just a little bit of living lines. just a little tiny bit of a push down. And there we go. I think that might be a nice little contrast to the eyebrows lagging behind. Oh, we maybe overdid it a little bit here on that side, but we can always correct it or dial it back. We'll see. Okay. Pushing the teeth a little further down. I do want to keep them solid. I'm a bit worried about the teeth being too squashy. I always like it if those are solid. Okay. That is quite a heavy squash. Boy and the heron, I want to look up again. Heron is the bird's name on English, right? Because the animation on that bird was so incredibly like creepy at times. Like there's this moment where that bird gets like teeth. Boots for Snooten asks, probably a very common question, but do you use a Cintiq? I do not. Well, I actually have a Cintiq right in front of me, a Cintiq 24 HD, but I no longer use it because I got back pain from it. Bending over the monitor gave me back pain. So what I'm doing right now is I have a drawing tablet right in front of me, 90 degrees on the desk, so that I can use the arms just 90 degrees in front of me, you know, that perfect ergonomic posture. And I'm looking straight to the monitor in front of me. I had to do this because my back pain got so bad, and any amount of like bending over the drawing tablet was really not good for me. Damn it, I lost the color again. Let's go back a frame here. There we go. Hello, Locks. But you know, nowadays I really don't mind it anymore. Drawing with a tablet, I feel like, you know, you get really used to it. And I don't know, if anything, they're amazing tablets with like a paper texture on it, and you know, they do kind of try to avoid that with the Cintiq, that it feels like drawing on glass. But basically, with a drawing monitor, you're always drawing on glass. All right, let's see what else we have. Animate or Toon Boom, which is better? Toon Boom, definitely, without hesitation. It's much more expensive also, but I worked with Toon Boom many years. I was some kind of an expert, a little bit of an expert for rigging in Harmony, in Toon Boom Harmony for a while. Nowadays, I'm not up to date anymore. But while Animate is used in professional productions, I I don't know. It always had this very weird stand that it was kinda used for like web animation, web programming, and at the same time it was an animation software. I had Animate always had a little bit of like an identity crisis, an identity difficulty, even when it was still called Flash. And I think Adobe nowadays also doesn't quite know what to do with Animate. They're adding some more and more puppet stuff in there, but the drawing tools are how they've ever been, despite adding new drawing tools constantly. They all kind of, I don't know, are not my favorite by far. And Toon Boom Harmony is an entirely different league if it comes to like brush options and also widespread use in studios nowadays. The most stuff done for like Disney animation is now done with Toon Boom Harmony, and especially if you can get your hands on like a student version, I would definitely recommend learning that. Yeah, and you only need, like, for frame by frame animation, you can totally just go with the cheaper subscriptions. But if you want to do rigging, you unfortunately need the expensive version, the whatever it's called, Super Pro Awesome one, but only if you do rigs. Now, in my opinion, Harmony is not as big as an undefeated competitor as it used to be. OpenToons, if it just comes to frame by frame animation, OpenToons is actually very similar to Toon Boom Harmony, and OpenToons is free and has a similar workflow. It has vector tools, bitmap tools. It has color referencing, which is pretty cool. Which is a thing that, as far as I know, is absent from Clip Studio Paint, for example. That you can link colors and still switch them later. I think there is color switching, color selection in Clip Studio Paint. I think works really well. But yeah, that's pretty awesome in both Toon Boom Harmony and OpenToons. And Flash also cannot do that, to my knowledge. Or actually, I think they might have added something like that. All right. Oh, Hilly says I have kind of a similar issue where I can only use the tablet for so long. Yeah, it's sometimes you really need to figure out what works for you, which posture, because you spent a lot of time in it, right? Let's end that animation. Let's actually make a little loop here, and do a little. Is there like a? I really haven't used this software in a long time. Like, changing the total number of frames is different in every freaking software. Whatever, move frames, timeline, type change settings. Ha. Okay, then let's cut it off at 26. All right. And then we have a little loop. Whoop, whoop. Okay, we did not draw this frame. All right, all right. P, of course. And this is one of the less big ones. It's one of the ease frames. We could just trace the blue line, because we really want very little motion. We want most of the motion to happen in the eyes, because, you know, we want people to look at the eyes and the blink that is starting there. And then it's affecting the rest of the body later. All right. It's already almost 11 p.m. here. We had the time zone shift from wintertime to summertime. Yesterday, the day before yesterday, something like that. Still really gotta get used to that new schedule. Yeah, I'm not that tired yet. That's always the problem. With that evil one, you have to get up earlier. But you still might not get tired around the time when you should go to bed. Oh, I'm getting really messy here with the tracing. All right. Maybe we should do clean lines next time, like not that pencil texture, but I like that pencil texture. There we go. Okay, that might have been... Was that all? I think that's all. We do have a couple... I always use the right click, which is the color selector. Need to hold space. All right, okay. So let's now have a look at our wonderful blink. That's quite the nice blink. We still have line flickering from the helper lines. And you know what also makes eye blinks work? If you have the big white spot, big white circle, and then it goes to like the color of the fur, that's where eye blinks really stand out. Like the coloring does a lot for eye blinks. But I think you can already kind of estimate how it's going to look and how it's coming together. Not sure I like that one spike of hair spiking out there to that side. But yeah, I do like some squash and stretch driven by an eye blink, and you might not do this for like, you know, just something that's just supposed to be really subtle, but I like that we played around with it for a bit. Yeah, and this is basically how to do eye blinks. If you have any last questions or any last topics for us to discuss, please let me know in the chat. And yeah, with that, we have another one of the 51 animation exercises done. We have an eye blink, character blinking. Let's see what else is on there. We did the flower sack kicking a ball, which was one of the live streams too. We just did character blinking. Character thinking is also interesting. I really like using the eyes to have something going on in your character's mind. So yeah, we still have quite a few exercises that we could potentially go through. Drawing it loose and ended up with something boiling? What do you mean? And you know, those big ones I also find interesting. One day we need to do character eating a cupcake. Object falling into water. Actually, you know, I got asked for special effects so many times on this channel to do special effects. The problem with special effects is I like to do them, but I don't like to call myself an expert there. I like to really teach how to animate special effects. I should probably research some more and look into some actual rules, because I, a lot of the time, do it trying to feel it, and you know, that's very bad for teaching if I'm just like, you know, this feels right, so we're doing it. Like, that doesn't help you to learn how special effects are done. So I really want to look into that more. Object falling into a body of water. I think we should at least pull up some like slow motion water and real life water, and then analyze it and see what we can learn there. And oh my god, 2 characters playing tug of war. That's a tough one. I sometimes, like, a couple of people get that far, like, you know, a lot of people like doing the 51 animation exercises, they kind of stop at like level 2. But you know, every now and then there are some people who do some amazing level 4 exercises, really admirable, because you know that does take some time. You need a couple sessions to really animate this. You know, you can put in work over months to animate 2 characters playing tug of war really impressively. Ah, I see. That's what you mean. Like, trying to keep the line steady when doing it all by hand is tricky. Yeah. That can be so difficult. Nowadays you can cheat a little bit. You know, if you are on a vector layer, oh, there he is, still going, still blinking. If you are on a vector layer, like, one thing that you could do. Okay, let's move those out of the way for now. You know, the cool thing with being on vector layers is if we copy the drawings over, can we actually do that? Can we paste into this drawing? Huh. Because I'm afraid if I hit Control, yeah, it's just gonna... Okay, then we do that. Then we switch to 1 copy, I guess. Okay, so the cool thing about a vector layer is now that you can go in with whatever manipulation tool you have here, and you can, you know, do your tiny micro motion here. Maybe you want to get rid of some of the anchor points first. I think you can do that. Delete control point with V. And then, you know, you can have like your micro wobbling, your micro motions, doing it like that. So, and this will potentially take out a little bit of that hand-drawn charm, because, you know, you're doing something computery. It might look too smooth because, you know, you're using digital methods to cheat. But yeah, one of the possibilities. Jess Wolf Blaze says you'll have to use a folder in the animation timeline to copy and paste. Yeah, I kind of have to look into that again. Like, I figured out that, you know, with Control-Alt-C and Control-Alt-V, you can copy and paste in the timeline. Or I might have set up those keyboard shortcuts myself. I don't remember anymore, because there's so little animation keyboard shortcuts set. But that was a huge help to do it like that. All right. I think with that, we did good work today, I would say. Here, this is looking quite good. Yeah, I think we can be proud of ourselves, and especially if you followed along with this tutorial, make sure to tag me, tag Animator Island on social media. I want to see your results, your eye blinks. I want to know if it was helpful. And let me know if you want me to make more tutorials like this. I know doing it live is a time investment, but this way you can see the entire process, and I hope I can throw in lots of information along the way. Wonderful. And with that, I hope you have an excellent day, evening, whatever it is in your part of the world. Yeah, I hope you're doing well and keep on animating.